Howdy, music fans. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to do the Stones tag that was put out in the vinyl community by Morten Astad. I saw it on Alan Rosenberg's channel, and I really liked it. And I'm going to watch the other ones too. There's a bunch of other ones up there, and this one is mine. So here's a list of questions that Morten Astad put on his shout out to do this, his call to do this, and I'm gonna answer them. So my first memory of the Stones, it's kind of a mix between two, and I'm probably gonna have more than one for almost every question. I just can't help myself. But walking around the neighborhood with a little boom box with a tape cassette in it that had songs from Tattoo You and Some Girls, sometimes with friends, sometimes by myself, and just blasting out Shattered and Hang Fire and Start Me Up and Little TNA and When the Whip Comes Down, and I just thought that was so freaking cool. And then the other one was my brother turned me on to the Stones at about 10 years old, 1980 for me. He would eventually let me go into his room and listen to his records, and I was just blown away. I would just go down there and listen, and I was astounded that the same band that did Around and Around on 12 by 5 was the same band that did Around and Around on Love You Live. They sounded so different to me, and I just couldn't believe it. And I was playing air guitar and jumping up and down like crazy, and I just was so in love with them so fast. They just really pulled at me, and I listened to all their albums that my brother had, which was a lot. He had a lot of all the early ones, the '60s ones, and a bunch of others. And then I started getting them for Christmas and birthdays and things from relatives and stuff like that. But anyway, that time in my brother's room, and then getting him to make me a cassette, and then teaching me how to make a cassette from the albums. Special memories for me of the Stones. There's lots more from concerts and other things, but those are my first memories. Okay, your first Stones, do you still have it? Yes, I do. Oddly enough, the first album I ever bought of any band, of anything, was the very first Rolling Stones album, England's Newest Hitmakers. I bought it at the Westview Flea Market on Frederick Road, or Edmondson Road, Edmondson Flea Market, at Westview Mall in Baltimore, Maryland. And that was my first album, and this was another one that just blew me away. Their version of Carol and Not Fade Away, and they did Walk in the Dog and Route 66. And Honest I Do, I loved. Tell Me, I absolutely loved. Can I Get a Witness? I mean, I loved the whole album pretty much. Little by Little, I'm a King Bee, all this stuff. This is where I learned about, not Slim Harpo on this one, but on others. I learned about Willie Dixon and Slim Harpo and Elmore James and all these people from these guys, just like many of my other musical heroes who learned about all those artists from these guys. Okay, so that's the first Stones album I ever bought. The first album I ever bought. All right, the latest acquisition, I already did an unboxing for this and a review, and they're both up there. Rolling Stones Black and Blue box set, which is a hefty package, and I have enjoyed it. All right, I don't know where to put all this stuff. I'm drowning in a sea of Stone stuff here. He is Dreamy, your favorite Stones band member. Keith, absolutely Keith. I'm a guitar player. I'm a songwriter. I love his guitar playing. I love his look. I love his style. I love the open G tunings. I just think he's amazing. I love the fact that the band follows him instead of the drummer, which is so different. I love him. I think he's great. But I love all the Stones and all the surrounding floating out there Stones and all the passing through Stones and all of them. All right, number 5, Rip This Axe, your favorite Stones lead guitarist. Everybody's going to pick Mick Taylor, and I love Mick Taylor, and he's probably the best for sure. But I loved a lot of things that Brian Jones did. Keith Richards played the solo on Sympathy for the Devil, which I think is fantastic. I love a lot of stuff that Ronnie Wood does. And honestly, my two favorite Stones solos are by Harvey Mandel. And that's Worried About You and Hand of Fate. But if I had to pick a favorite lead guitarist, I guess it would be Mick Taylor. I mean, he is certainly the best one they've ever had. Okay, Happy, a Stones experience that makes you glad. Well, not the first show, the second show I ever went to was the first show of the Voodoo Lounge Tour, 1994, at RFK Stadium. And I went with a whole bunch of work friends, and I was kind of astounded at how many wanted to go. And we were way up in the nosebleeds at RFK, but everybody, we were dancing a lot through most of the show. There was maybe 10 of us there, and that's not very common for my life to have 10 friends or 10 people that go out with. And I realized and noticed as we were dancing that the whole tier was shaking. Obviously not because of us, but because of everybody in that section. The whole tier of that part of the stadium was shaking up and down, like it was bouncing. And I just thought that was so freaking cool. Like, this is a dance band, not just a band, a rock and roll dance band. Everybody's just having a good time and really loving it. And then the next Stones show I went to was 2 days later, the second show of the RFK tour. And I went with a couple of friends, a friend and his friend, and we were down on the floor. And at we bought some passes, some backstage passes from some guy. We didn't know what was going to happen. We thought he might be shady, but it's worth a shot. They were like $60 or something a piece. And so at the encore, Jumpin' Jack Flash or whatever it was, we started heading down to the front. We were already on the floor, midway back, but we just started, and the passes got us through this barricade and that barricade and up to the stage pretty much. And then we got at the end, we got down into the bowels of RFK, which was really cool. And we ran around in there and we found big tour crates labeled Rolling Stones, and I reached into one. It was open. I opened it, or it was unlocked, and I pulled out another backstage pass. Or no, not a backstage pass. I already had that. I have them in the same place. They're buried. But I pulled out just a thing of paper stapled together, and it turned out to be a Xerox copy of all the backstage passes on each page. There was one on each page telling what access it gave. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I tell about all my Stones shows in a video that I already made. So anyway, moving on. Number 7, Artsy, your favorite Stones album cover. Well, for me, again, it's 2. I never really thought about it much. I never thought that they were the greatest album covers. I just liked them because they had my favorite band on them. They're the Rolling Stones. They're my favorite band. That's a cool album cover. I didn't give it a lot of thought, but I would have to give it to either Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. I absolutely love this cover with Charlie jumping up in the air holding the guitars and the mule with the drums and the other guitar. I just think that's hilarious and really cool. And the title I loved as a kid, Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. Thought that was kind of silly and I just liked it. And then the other one is Through the Past Darkly. Not because of the octagon. I don't know if I ever liked the octagon, but I think they look really cool here. This is a good era for them. They've got the long hair. They look very rock and roll. The back is them smashing the glass or whatever. And I wore the crap out of this album. I listened to this album. This, honestly, there's a favorite compilation on here. I never thought about it, but this probably should be my favorite compilation. It's not, but I really listened to this a lot as a kid. Okay, moving on. Next is a unique, a special Stones thing in your collection. So this is tricky because I've got several that I want to show. But the one that would win, that if I only could show one, would be this. And I don't have any clue what the hell it is. I mean, I know what it is, but I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it exists or anything about it. But it is the art that I love. The art is just so freaking cool. And it is... I think it's worth, last time I looked it up and found it online anywhere, and worth, what does that mean, right? I think it was priced at around $100. And I just thought, this is really cool. But what it is a lyrics book. That's all it is. Black and white and some pictures in there, but it's just lyrics. And it's not any specific lyrics. It's just, it's all the albums. And somebody marked it up before I got it. I guess they were marking off songs they were going to play or their favorites or whatever. And then there's some sort of a discography kind of thing in there. It's just an interesting book, but it's all lyrics of the albums. up to, I don't know, at least Sticky Fingers. So, interesting, rare, never seen it except in my own collection. Love it. Okay, I've got three more things for the rarities. I had to show this. I saw this in a record store as a kid years and years ago. I hemmed and hawed because it was wrapped in cellophane and I didn't know what it was. And it was in German and it was $35, which for me was a lot of money at that time. My mom's German and I did find out that it was called The Black Book. And like I say, I had no idea what it was and I eventually just bought it. Okay, and what it is a bootleg discography kind of thing. It shows tons and tons and tons of bootlegs and what's on them and the cover, and I think it shows the label that they're on, if they're on a label, and I think it tells the quality. But I just thought that's, and again, I've never seen this anywhere but in my collection, so a nice rarity. All right, two more. Felix Apley's book, The Rolling Stones, The Ultimate Guide, 1962 to 1995. This is a tome, heavy, huge book. And what this is a reference book as well, and it tells in great detail everything that they've done on every day of their career from 1962 to 1965. Every recording, every session, every person that was there, everything they did, every concert, every song at every concert. This guy put a lot into this. He's French. He has a website. I don't think you can find this anymore, but he had a second, I think he had a second copy eventually, or a second, something after 1995. I think he might have made one eventually. I don't remember, but it's invaluable. I think it cost me $50 when I got it, or $80. Very, very heavy. And the last thing for weird stuff is a gift from a friend, and it's the Rolling Stones Monopoly game, which is I've never opened, and I've never planned to open, and I have no idea about anything about it. I don't know what it's worth. I'm sure somebody has it and I can find it on YouTube and see how to play, like if there's any what the differences are between this and the real Monopoly. But anyway, Monopoly. Okay. All right. Bookworm of Yesterday's Papers, a book or magazine. I had to go with some of Bill German's Beggar's Banquet issues of the fanzine that he did, the newsletter, club newsletter that he did in the 80s, and I forget how many issues there are altogether. These are actually duplicates, and they are for sale if you are interested, because I have a bunch more, and I have doubles of all of these. I think there's 6 of them here. Volume 2, numbers 1 through 6. Okay, so if those are needed for your collection, they are for sale. And this was a great fanzine. He also wrote a book called Under Their Thumb, which I've read twice. He published a second one with like 50 more pages and some other information, and it's probably my favorite Stones book. It is amazing. He was hanging out with them all the time in a period of their life that's not really documented very much, 81 on, or about then. And he was a real insider. They liked him. They trusted him. And so he became friends with pretty much all of them, except maybe Charlie, but he was established with Charlie. Amazing book, Under Their Thumb, and that was his fanzine, which, like I say, has a bunch more issues. All right, number 10, Got Live. Have you seen them live? When, where, how many times? Well, if you've watched my channel for a long time, a few years ago, I did a video of all the Stone shows I'd been to, and since I did that video, I've only been to 2 more, but I thought I'd show you a couple of things. I've probably showed this at that video. I documented all the songs they played at each show, and that's probably in that video. I probably go through it in detail. It's like I say, it's only 9 shows because I've been to 2 since then. And then I documented how many times they played each song. at the shows that I've been to, and there's plenty of songs that on here that have only been played once that I've seen. Little Queenie, Hot Stuff, Harlem Shuffle, Don't Stop, Flip the Switch, Get Off My Cloud, Dead Flowers, 2000 Light Years, All About You, Anybody Seen My Baby, Play with Fire, Rain Fall Down. There's a lot that I've seen only once, respectable, in my 11 shows. All right. And I thought on top of that, I would show you the bootlegs that I happen to have from the shows I've been to. It's not all of them, but it's most of them. So RFK, 1994, the first show of that tour, of the Voodoo Lounge tour. And then RFK again, Voodoo Lounge, the second. This is called First Night Stand. And then Welcome to Washington was the second night. I've been to both of those. Okay, then the next time I saw them was again with a bunch of friends, a lot of the same friends from work, at Jack Kent Cooke Stadium in '97. This was a tough one because the wind blew the sound all over the place. We were so far up in the nosebleeds that we could look over the back wall of the stadium and see the parking lot, which terrified the hell out of me. I'm scared of heights. Then I saw them on the No Security tour. That was amazing because it was a small place. It was MCI Center, 18,000, I think it seats. And Keith played You Got the Silver, Before They Make Me Run. What else did they do on this? Route 66. And of course they did Some Girls, was a big deal. They did Midnight Rambler, which I love no matter what. And they did all the War Horses, but they did Respectable. And I mean, this was just a cool show. All right, then no artwork for this one, but 2002 with my then girlfriend, Tacoma Dome, when I finally moved to Seattle. And then, so the rest of these, almost all of the rest of these will be in Seattle. Then 2005, Seattle, Key Arena, another 18,000 seater. And I was closer up. I was at a good, decent seat for both of these, kind of straight back in the first tier of seats. And this was the second loudest show I've ever been to. Absolutely. It was freaking mind-boggling how loud it was. Keith's guitar mainly, but it still sounded great. Yeah, AC/DC in Madrid was the loudest. I could feel my pant legs blow against my shins every time Angus Young hit a guitar chord. All right, then I saw them on the No Filter Tour 2010. 2019. So I saw them in 2008 with my girlfriend also at Quest Field in Seattle. Okay. And that one, Dave Matthews opened, so he's a cool guy, though. I don't like his music, but he is a very nice guy. And then this was in Seattle again, Quest Field, or whatever it was called then. I think it was still called Quest Field then, does it say? No, now it's CenturyLink Field. I don't know how many names it's had. And then a friend of mine messaged me on before the 2021 tour and said, "You want to meet up and see them in Vegas?" And I was like, "No, I can't do that. What are you, crazy?" And I did it. And I met a cool woman at the airport with a Stone shirt, and we got talking. She was in her 80s maybe, and she had no idea how many times she'd seen them, and she'd been seeing them since their first tour in America. So I think I probably say that in the other video too. I was blown away just chatting with this really sweet old woman. And then the last, this could be tour 24. This one was the Hackney Diamonds, and this was again at, I don't know, now I think it's called Lumen Field. So the only ones missing are the 2008, the extension of the Bigger Bang tour, and then 1989 I saw them at RFK, the Steel Wheels tour with my brother at RFK. All right, let's keep going. Next is Living Room Live, your favorite Stones DVD, Blu-ray, or other. Well, that's really freaking hard because there's so many. I remember when I first got the bootleg video of Marquee Club, I was knocked out. I mean, really just like, oh my God, what is this? Except for the horrible camera going blasting in and out. Aside from that, that was the closest I'd ever seen any of these guys. I might have already seen the Let's Spend the Night Together movie in the theater by then, but Ladies and Gentlemen was amazing. Marquee Club, and then Ladies and Gentlemen, I found a bootleg of that and I was blown away. But I chose Ole 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 because it is just a beautiful, beautiful, heart tear-jerking kind of movie. It's really a beautiful movie. They make it kind of into a story of them going from these country to country to country and getting permits to go in, and all the back scene stuff that goes into it, and then lots and lots of footage from every country. Not lots, but a lot of cool footage from the locals, and it's just a really touching, sweet, beautiful movie, and the audiences in Latin America are out of their minds. Just Rolling Stones fanatics. Really, really fun audiences. Okay. Next. Oh no. Oh wait. Funny. Are the Rolling Stones funny? Well, I think Ronnie is very funny. He shows it in lots of videos, and there's this hilarious little tiny few second clip in Let's Spend the Night Together where Mick is singing his ass off. I think he has the flag wrapped around him, and then Ron Wood comes charging across the stage behind him, and Mick goes like this, and he runs around the drum riser with Charlie and all the way back around, and Mick is just and I love that little tiny clip so much, and there's so many great clips of them all just being silly and having fun. I think they probably are funny guys. Keith likes to tell his jokes over and over again, but I think they're probably pretty funny guys. They're too intelligent not to be funny, right? All right. Oh no, the album that made you a doubting Thomas. Well, I could pick maybe three, and I picked one. The one that everybody probably picked, Dirty Work. I liked Had It With You. I liked Sleep Tonight, and I kind of liked Harlem Shuffle. I liked Too Rude, and the rest of it I thought was crap at the time. I mean, now it's, I don't know, not a great album. Not to me. Didn't like the production, didn't dig the songs so much. One Hit to the Body has grown on me over the years, and maybe Winning Ugly, maybe Dirty Work. I don't know. It's just too frenetic for me. All right, this is really hard. So Low, So High, worst and best solo offerings. I forgot about that. I didn't see the worst. Dang it. Sorry. You're just going to get the best for me. And I did one for each Stone, except for Charlie. I'll just say Charlie's were the worst, because I'm not big on jazz orchestras. How's that? All right. Give Me Some Neck by Ron Wood. I wore this album out. This kicks ass. And I like most of Ron Wood's albums, almost all of them. I don't like Not For Beginners all that much, but I like most of them. Feel Like Playing is fantastic, and this one, though, is probably his best of his mid-70s. Give Me Some Neck. It's got some great songs on it. Keith, of course, is Talk Is Cheap. This is the deluxe version with a little small extra disc, and I like it quite a bit. Mick, I would not obviously, I guess, but I would have to say Wandering Spirit is a freaking masterpiece. I absolutely love this album. Used to be on a jukebox. A friend of mine used to go down in Fells Point and shoot pool and drink beer, and this was on it, and Hank Williams was on it, and we would play Hank Williams and Mick Jagger all night while drinking cheap pitchers of beer and playing pool at a place called Tugboat Annie's. And Bill Wyman, I like his earlier albums better than his rhythm. I don't know what they're called now. Not the rhythm. What are they called? That's wow. How's that escaping me? Anyway, I would pick Monkey Grip. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Monkey Grip. Sorry, this is a box set of a bunch of his albums, and they've all got extras, but Monkey Grip, I think, is his best. It's got Wanna Get Me a Gun, White Lightning, Quarter to Three, but I like, there we go. I like his other one, Bill Wyman, also. Oh, you know what? Je Suis un Rockstar. We'll say that's the worst of the Stones solo albums. That's a Bill Wyman. That's an electronic kind of thing. Has one or two songs on it I don't dislike, but nothing I love. I love this album. This one's fantastic. And then I guess this one's Je Suis un Rockstar, I think. I'm not sure. Which was a hit for him. I don't remember what country, but it was a hit. And then there's Stuff. God dang it, I can't believe I don't remember the name of his Rhythm Kings or God, whatever. Anyway, he also did this amazing album called Willie and the Poor Boys, which is all covers. I think he did some writing on Monkey Grip at Bill Wyman and the other ones, but this one is a fantastic rock and roll album with Jimmy Page and Chris Rea and lots of his friends on there. And this is the deluxe version that has a live version of it, which isn't as good as the studio, and a DVD, which is kind of cheesy, has Ron Wood on it. But anyway, there's the solo Stones. Experiment. Hey, that was different. Okay, I think they've done a few of those, but the ones I chose two, are Blue and Lonesome. And why that was so different was because it's the little box set. There's nothing in there but the CD and a book. But the reason this was so different, I think, is because they recorded it in 4 days, and they're notorious for playing songs over and over and over and over again, and long jams, and that's just Keith's way of letting the songs marinate. And Blue and Lonesome was all blues covers, which they've done before, but not in a very long time. And they've never done anything like this where it really showcased mixed harmonica on every song. There's barely a guitar solo on the album. I think there's one or two. There's licks, but not a lot, not solos. And Eric Clapton's on it too. But I think it's a cool album, and it was something different. And then Stripped. And I do have the 5 CD or DVD box set or whatever. But Stripped is really cool because it was their version of MTV Unplugged, and it had some live full band electric stuff. I shouldn't say full band, it's all full band. Some live electric stuff, but then it has a bunch of reworked Stones tunes in the studio, like Angie and Let It Bleed. And the filming of this is from Japan is fantastic. So I think this is something really cool and different that they did, and I love it. Really loved it when it came out. But it's the same album, an album you have many copies and formats of. I don't have anything. I will just say England's Newest Hitmakers, which I already showed, I have on CD, and then I have on the mono CD from the mono box set, and then I have on vinyl. That's 3. That's it. And then I have a couple of the singles, little box sets, and one of them has the picture of that same picture on one of the covers. All right, the one, that Stones song that speaks to you. There's just too many to answer that, but I just picked what jumped into my head. You Got the Silver, the Keith version, the one that came out, and then No Expectations were the two that I just pulled out. But all down the line, Miss Amanda Jones, Can't You Hear Me Knocking, Monkey Man, Stray Cat Blues, Rocks Off, Torn and Frayed. It just goes on and on. All right. Okay, decades. Show your favorite album from each decade. You may skip the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. And I thought I'd do it by era, but at the last second I changed my mind and said, okay, I'll play by the rules and just pick one from each decade. So from the 60s, I chose Let It Bleed, which I think is just a freaking killer album with country honk. The song Let It Bleed. Monkey Man is just phenomenal. Love in Vain, Midnight Rambler. Of course, the better version is on Yayas, but it's just an amazing album. Give Me Shelter. From the 70s, I chose Goat's Head Soup, although it could have been Sticky or Exile. But Goat's Head really spoke to me as a kid. I just loved Mick Taylor's guitar all over it, and I love the weirdness of songs like Winter and Can You Hear the Music and Hide Your Love and 100 Years Ago. I just loved it. And then the 80s, come on. I mean, it's got to be Tattoo You, right? So there's Tattoo You. I do like Undercover a lot. And I like Steel Wheels okay. I liked it when it came out, certainly. And then when this came out, I played the hell out of it because they hadn't done anything in so long. Voodoo Lounge. I still think it's a pretty good album. Okay. Next, show a single if you have one. Well, I chose from these singles collections. Let's Spend the Night Together and Ruby Tuesday, mostly because, well, I love Let's Spend the Night Together, but also because I wanted to give a little shout out to Between the Buttons, which was one of my favorite albums as a kid. I loved it. Okay, next, show an EP or 10-inch if you have one. Well, once again, from these little single CD box sets, there's a couple of EPs in there, 2 or 3 in the 2 that I have. So I chose the one with Bye Bye Johnny. This is all covers. Arthur Alexander's You Better Move On. Poison Ivy. God, the Coasters did that. Other people did it. Bye Bye Johnny, of course, Chuck Berry. And Money was a standard that lots of people did. Standard rock and roll, not a standard. Okay, then let's see what is next. Oh, Beneath Them. Behave. I had one when I was watching Alan Rosenberg's video and it flew out of my head, but I'm going to pick a couple of different things. One is Keith's life book. Um, I really didn't like the way he disparaged Mick so much, even though the whole thing with calling Mick Brenda in the 80s, that doesn't bug me so much. But he said other things in there that I was like, dude, come on, have some privacy, some sensitivity, some maturity. I don't expect that from you, Keith. Mick's the petty one, I thought, so that really bugged me, the way he slammed Mick here and there. And apparently it bugged Mick too. And then the last thing is the way they treat people that leave for whatever reason, and the way they just kind of throw him by the wayside. Brian Jones, who went to his funeral? Bill Wyman, Charlie Watts, nobody else. Yeah, Mick was filming Ned Kelly in Australia, but he could have got a plane, I think, and gone to Brian's funeral. Keith could have gone to Brian's funeral, and that bugged me. And then Bill Wyman leaving was like just no big deal, and Lisa Fisher leaving, no big deal. Ian Stewart being relegated to, driver and manager and carrying the equipment, no big deal, Yeah, they seem a little cold. I don't want to say callous, but a little cold when people come and go through their orbit. All right, next, All I Need, your favorite compilation. There's so many out there, some great ones. I chose two because I listened to the hell out of this one. Portrait, it's a German one that I had as a kid. This is the vinyl. I don't have it on CD. And I just liked it and listened to it a lot. I listened to, as I already said, Through the Past Darkly. I really listened to Hot Rocks. Big Hits and Fade's Cookies, not as much, but so many. Made in the Shade I probably listened to, and Rewind I listened to or watched, and I think it was a CD too. But the one I really want to pick is this one called The Rolling Stones 50 Years, and the reason I want to pick it is because I've never, ever seen it anywhere. I think it's from a whiskey set or some weird Rolling Stones collection with like a bottle of whiskey and a t-shirt and this. And it just has these cool versions. I think they're all live, if I remember correctly. They might even say where they were recorded. That I could be wrong about, but if I remember correctly, I think these are all live. And it's not a bootleg, it's an official release. So there's the one I picked. Okay, moving on. Your favorite Stones live album? Well, come on. I mean, that's Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. There's no contest. That's the greatest live album ever. Why Stones? Why do you love them or like them? Well, as a kid, I liked the Beatles a lot. I kind of grew out of them, but the Stones just moved me more than any other band I've ever known. That's the only word I can think of it. They moved me emotionally, they moved me physically, they moved me in every way I can think of. And then they turned me on to country, funk, soul, blues, reggae. They turned me on to all these other musics that I now love. And now I'm an obsessed, crazy, nut music fan. And it's because of my brother turning me on to the Rolling Stones. And the Rolling Stones teaching me all about so much other music. One thing that really bugged me as a kid was I had, all my Led Zeppelin albums. You pull out the album and every song would say Plant Bonham Page Jones. And granted, they really did make the songs their own, the ones they ripped off, but none of them said Willie Dixon, Robert Johnson, whatever. The Stones songs all did. Stones albums, all under the songs, said who wrote the songs, and I really appreciated that, even as a kid. So they just moved me. All right, you can't always get what you want. Your thoughts on the future. I'm going to kind of rip off Alan Rosenberg's answer, but I would have thought of this anyway, I'm pretty sure. Small venues, deep cuts, tell the public no hits, and just be a little touring rock band on small stages that Keith would certainly love, and I think they would all love. Be one with your audience. The market price would probably go down if they're not playing all the war horses, all the hits. So I think that would be great. I'm guessing they're done, honestly. And I got to say, the last several tours I've seen, I've loved them because I'm a Stones fan, but I will say it gets old hearing Satisfaction and Jumpin' Jack Flash, and It's Only Rock and Roll over and over and over. Street Fighting Man, Sympathy for the Devil. You can't, all the same ones over and over. It gets old to me. And their top studio album, Masterpiece, according to me. Well, come on, that's silly. The Golden Run, Let It Bleed, Beggars Banquet, Let It Bleed, Sticky Fingers, Exile, all masterpieces in my opinion. Goat's Head Soup was a masterpiece in my opinion. Since I have it out though, I guess Let It Bleed. Yeah, I said that. But I guess I'll pick Tattoo You, and that's pretty interesting as a masterpiece because it was cobbled together from outtakes from the '70s and it's just thrown together. The only weak song on here, really, in my opinion, is Neighbors. Everything else is just tops. Okay, thanks so much for the Stones tag. Sorry I went over 30 minutes, and thanks everybody who's watched it. And Morten Astad, thank you for putting it out there, and I will let you know that I did it. All right, folks, thanks so much. Have a good day.